Hello there, you're tuned in to 7Edition with me, Sabrina Zainal. Tonight's top stories. Nigerian suspect in nurse's murder case remanded for 7 days. French doctor charged for poisoning and killing patients. And no more late trains for commuters. We begin the bulletin with this story. A Nigerian is now in remand for 7 days to assist in the investigation into the murder of Serdang Hospital nursing sister Siti Karina Muhammad Khairuddin, who was found dead at a condominium in Cyberjaya 2 days ago. Magistrate A. Akhiruddin Acho issued the remand order. The 30-year-old man, the main suspect in the case, was arrested at Churas Central Kuala Lumpur yesterday and was reportedly the last man seen on CCTV footage leaving the condominium unit in Cyberjaya where her body was found. Police also picked up a Nigerian woman and a Pakistani man in Churas and Stapa who are also in remand. Serdang Hospital confirmed that Siti Karina was last seen leaving the hospital's parking lot in her white Honda City on May 8th before she was reported missing. Her body was discovered by the homeowner on Wednesday with slash wounds to her chest, neck and head. Meanwhile, the remains of Siti Karina were laid to rest at Bukit Tengah Muslim Cemetery in Sri Menanti, Negeri Sembilan at about 9 last night. Prior to that, the remains of the 40-year-old nursing sister arrived at her Kampung Tengah family home from the Serdang Hospital at 6:15 p.m. Her body was then taken into the house for family members and friends to pay their last respects. A funeral prayer followed before her body was taken for burial. About 100 people, including Siti Karina's husband, Muhammad Udzir Khalid, and their 3 young children were present. Also present was Kuala Pilah MP, who was also Communications and Multimedia Deputy Minister, Eden Shazli Shith. Meanwhile, a 34-year-old woman was sentenced to 5 years in jail by the Kuala Pilah Sessions Court for using counterfeit 100 ringgit bills last September. Earlier, Mas Fadila Senin, who used to work for a government statutory body, pleaded guilty. The mother of one was accused of using a fake 100 bill at a shop in Bahau, Negeri Sembilan on September 24th last year. She was also slapped with a second charge of using another fake 100 ringgit note at a motorcycle workshop in Bahau on the same day. The judge sentenced her to 5 years in jail for each offence from the day of her arrest in October last year. The judge, however, ordered for the sentence to run concurrently. Now, 40 more witnesses are expected to be called in for Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak's corruption trial involving 42 million ringgit belonging to One Malaysia Development Berhad, One MDB's subsidiary, SRC International Sdn Berhad. Deputy Public Prosecutor Datuk V. Sitambaran said so far only 30% of the trial process has been completed.
Speaking during management of the case before High Court Judge Muhammad Nazlan Muhammad Ghazali, he said new dates for the trial would be fixed after the initial dates ended on May 15. The trial, which entered its 18th day on Wednesday, has seen 37 witnesses being called, including bankers, government officers, lawyers and members of the public. Earlier, the court fixed 39 days for the trial to resume, starting May 28 and 29, followed by June 10th to June 14, June 17 to June 21st, July 1st to July 3rd, and July 8th until August 15th, except Fridays. The former Premier is facing 3 counts of criminal breach of trust (CBT) and 1 count of abuse of power over funds linked to SRC International. He is also facing 3 money laundering charges in relation to the funds.
Now, police have arrested 4 members of a gang known as Geng Gedegang, believed to have been actively stealing vending machines in and around Klang Valley. The men, aged between 23 and 29, were arrested in 3 raids in Cheras, Rawang and Sungai Buloh in operations conducted from April 30th to May 8th. Authorities said 2 of the suspects have a background in performing servicing works on the machines, while the other 2 are unemployed. It was reported that the gang are believed to be active since November last year and have been selling the stolen machines via social media for prices ranging from 3,000 to 4,000 ringgit. 6 vending machines, a proton satria, a drilling machine, and a screwdriver were seized in the raid as evidence. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code. Police have detained 4 men who fired multiple shots in the air with a double-barrel shotgun at a temple at Tanjung Karang last Sunday. The suspects surrendered themselves at the Kuala Selangor District Police Headquarters after a video clip of their action went viral on social media. Kuala Selangor OCPD Muhammad Asri A. Wahab said police also seized a shotgun and 17 bullets from one of the suspects. They are being remanded to assist investigations under the Arms Act. The shooting incident was set to take place in Sri Pachai Maratu Munyadi Temple in Sungai Burong, Tanjung Karang during a festival. The shooters were seen taking shots while worshippers were standing barely 3 feet from them. In one of the videos, several kids were standing barely 3 feet from where the men were shooting. The recent amendment to the classification of plastic wastes under the Basel Convention on International Treaty will help Malaysia restrict the import of such wastes from other countries more effectively. This is because the amendment to the proposed plastic waste classification by the Convention requires a prior informed consent, PIC, from the country importing the plastic waste before any cross-border waste movement is conducted.
Energy, Science, Technology, Environment and Climate Change Minister Yobi Yin said during a media conference in Putrajaya today that with the amendment, plastic waste are more clearly classified.
Sebelum ini, sisa plastik adalah di Annex 9. Annex 9 iaitu tidak payah mendapatkan apa-apa kelulusan ataupun prior informed consent daripada negara penerima ataupun negara pengeksport tidak perlu bertanggungjawab atas apa yang mereka ekspor.
She added that plastic waste exporting countries also need to have special consideration or PIC from importing countries before any cross-border movements of the plastic waste are carried out. The biggest concern now is that Malaysia has become the main destination for contaminated plastic waste imports from foreign countries since China banned the import of plastic waste last year. The 14th Basel Convention Conference, held from April 29th to May 10 in Geneva, Switzerland, was attended by 3 of the ministry's officials and an official from the Housing and Local Government Ministry. To date, the DOE has taken action against 148 illegal plastic recycling plants.
Coming up, 7-year-old boy strips and squats in public. The details next. We're back with more news. Torrential rain yesterday caused chaos at Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah, after leaks appeared in multiple locations, including one operating room being used for surgery. Videos of the leaks are making rounds on social media, which Sabah Health Director Dr. Christina Rundi confirmed as authentic. In the clips, leaks could be seen in at least 3 spots, while photos of staff trying to mop dry the inundated floors were also shared online. The person who uploaded the video said the information was not to criticize health officials, but rather to highlight the condition of the healthcare infrastructure around the country to the Health Ministry. The writer of the post also claims that allocations to Sabah were inadequate compared to other states, which hampered the health department's ability to function properly. According to Dr. Rundi, the leaks at the hospital was resolved soon after and no operations or patients were affected. KTM Berhad today launched a journey planner application, My Rail Time, to help commuters plan their journeys better. Transport Minister Anthony Loke said KTM train riderships had dropped due to the negative perception that KTM trains were always late.
Idea ini adalah dicetus selepas saya mendapat banyak feedback daripada pengguna-pengguna media sosial dalam Facebook saya, khususnya yang selalu memberikan aduan ataupun maklum balas bahawa mereka terpaksa menunggu lama di stesen-stesen KTM komuter. Seperti yang saya jelaskan tadi, bukannya perkhidmatan KTM komuter kita lambat, bukannya kita tidak tepat pada masanya. Cuma kekerapan itu telah pun dikurangkan sekarang ini. Kekerapan itu dikurangkan sehingga setiap trip dalam 45 minit. Jadi orang ramai akan berasakan bahawa mereka tunggu lama ataupun train lambat. Sebenarnya bukan train lambat, cuma kekerapan itu 45 minit sebab ada projek naik taraf landasan kereta api Lembah Kelang.
Through My Real Time, commuters can check for real-time information on train arrivals, departures, and delays, allowing them to better utilize their time for other matters. The application currently keeps tabs on KTM commuter trains plying the Port Klang, Tanjung Malim, and Sungai Gadut Batu Caves lines, as well as the Skypart Link service from KL Central to Sultan Abdul Aziz Shah Airport in Subang. Lok said Prasarana Malaysia Berhad, which operates the LRT networks, KL Monorail and Rapid KL buses, is also working on its own Journey Planner application to help commuters keep tabs on its own bus and train services. Now, despite numerous cases reported since 2016, gullible Malaysians are still falling prey into the trap of cybercrime, including fake news. According to Cybersecurity Malaysia, CSM, out of 2,977 reported incidents from January to April this year, cyber fraud recorded the highest number of incidents.
CSM Chief Executive Officer Datuk Dr. Amiruddin Abdul Wahab said data collected through CSM's official complaint centre, Cyber 999, found that there were 1,963 cases of cyber fraud reported. This is followed by malicious code with 390, intrusion with 339 and many more. Among internet fraudulent activities were dissemination of fake news, impersonation and offering non-existent services. Quoting the Adelman Trust Barometer 2018 report, he explained 73% of internet users in Malaysia are concerned about the negative impact of fake news. But at the same time, 45% of internet users choose to disengage from the main news channels for their news sources. They choose to refer to sources shared on social sites, which raises the risk for them to be exposed easily to fake news. To make it worse, 63% of Malaysians could not distinguish between rumours and good journalism. Therefore, he believes that the most effective weapon against fake news on the internet is public awareness among internet users on the risk of spreading fake news.
Moving on, Sabah DAP Acting Chairman Datuk Frankie Poon Ming Fong has been appointed as the new State Health and People's Wellbeing Minister. Poon will fill up the vacant portfolio left by its incumbent and State DAP Chairman Datuk Stephen Wong, who died on March 28th. The appointments received the green light from DAP's leadership. And according to Datuk Sri Muhammad Shafi'i, there is no cabinet reshuffle and all assistant ministers remain the same.
Ini merupakan satu pengisian jawatan yang dikosongkan oleh mendiang Datuk Stephen Wong yang dahulu menjawat jawatan Menteri Kesihatan.
Datuk Frankie Poon is Tanjung Papat Assemblyman and Sabah DAP Publicity Secretary. DAP's Luyang Assemblyman Ginger Fung will take over the Youth and Sports Minister's post vacated by Poon. They will take their oaths of office next Tuesday. Now let's hop on to our daily segment, Clickbait, where we take a look at what's trending and making rounds in the cyber world today. Now, for most Muslims, it would be a dream come true to be able to access the famous Hijr Ismail, a low wall adjacent to the Kaaba in Mecca during their pilgrimage. Well, this dream came true for a Pakistani man who got the chance upon being crowned the most diligent cleaner of the month. And one can learn from this story, but that money can't buy everything. The worker, who performs the duty of cleaning the Holy Kaaba, was supposed to be rewarded with a cash prize after winning the Best Employee of the Month title. However, he refused. Instead, he simply wanted to step foot in the Hijr Ismail and to be allowed to pray there. Luckily for him, the administration of Al-Haram Mosque fulfilled his wish, closing doors to the inner part of the landmark to provide exclusivity for the cleaner. The identity of the man has not been revealed, but at least we know his inspiring story. The man, along with his other Kaaba workers, work around the clock every day to clean, sterilize, and perfume the entire area around the Black Stone and the Kaaba door before each prayer. Now, parents ought to discipline their children in a manner proportionate to their actions, and they should do it out of love and care for them. A Chinese mother stirred controversy online recently after she was caught punishing her second-grader son in public for grabbing his female classmate's buttocks at school. Here's the full story. The poor boy was made to strip to his underwear and squat on the sidewalk in the Guizhou capital of Guiyang in an unconventional punishment meted out by his angry mother. According to Shanghai.ist, the mother had received a call from her son's teacher claiming that the 7-year-old boy grabbed one of his classmates' backside in school. In order to teach her son a lesson, the mother felt that the son needed to know how it feels like to be violated, ordering him to perform the exercise in public as a crowd gathered around to watch. The mother then reportedly called the girl's parents to apologize and promise that she would discipline her son better in the future. While the punishment may be too extreme, it'll sure be a lesson that will remain with the boy for quite some time. When we return, massive manhunt launched after latest jailbreak. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. Now on to world news. At least 100 prisoners are on the run from an Indonesian jail following a riot in the country's second mass prison escape in less than a week. Prisoners fled from the jail for narcotics convicts in North Sumatra province on Thursday after starting a fire in response to complaints about the treatment of a fellow prisoner. Authorities said the incident was triggered after prisoners found out about an alleged mistreatment of a prisoner, causing them to act out and started burning prison officers' motorbikes. The riot escalated as other inmates started breaking windows and doors, but no casualties were reported from the uproar. Hundreds of inmates initially escaped from the detention center, but most were soon recaptured. Thursday's jailbreak comes after more than 100 inmates escaped Saturday from another jail in Sumatra following a riot that broke out after guards beat several inmates who were caught using methamphetamine. Prison breaks are not uncommon in Indonesia, where inmates are often held in crowded, unsanitary conditions. Now, lawmakers in Taiwan have approved a bill legalizing same-sex marriage, a landmark decision that makes the self-ruled island the first place in Asia to pass gay marriage legislation. The vote came almost 2 years after the island's constitutional court ruled that the existing law, which says marriage was between a man and a woman, was unconstitutional. The court debated 3 different bills to legalize same-sex unions, and ultimately, the government's bill, which is the most progressive of the 3, was passed by 66 to 27 votes, backed by lawmakers from the majority Democratic Progressive Party. The 2 other bills, submitted by conservative lawmakers, refer to partnerships as same-sex family relationships or same-sex unions rather than marriages. Now, the court's ruling on Friday also allowed the bill some discretionary leeway, giving it room to amend the civil code or add a new law specifically for same-sex couples. Thousands of gay rights supporters gathered outside Parliament despite heavy downpours, waving rainbow flags, flashing victory signs, and breaking into cheers as the news filtered out. The new law will take effect on May 24th after President Tsai Ing-wen passes it into law. Moving on, a French doctor has been charged with killing 9 patients by poisoning them during surgery to trigger heart failures and then heroically bringing them back from the brink of death. Authorities found evidence linking Frédéric Péchier to 24 out of 66 suspicious incidents that happened during surgical proceedings. Out of the total, 9 procedures failed. The 47-year-old physician, who has denied any wrongdoing, will face a life sentence once his trial is over. Péchier, an anesthesiologist, was initially investigated over the poisoning of 17 people in France, which led to him being barred from practicing medicine. Earlier this week, he was questioned by police about 66 cases of cardiac arrest during operations on patients aged 4 to 80 who were considered low risk. Prosecutors allege he deliberately tampered with his colleagues' anesthesia pouches to create an emergency and show off his talents and gain the respect of his fellow doctors, as well as the admiration of his victims. Péchier was suspected of injecting lethal doses of potassium chloride during benign surgeries, and that the plan was to swoop in at the last minute and perform resuscitation when the patient's heart fails. Colleagues at the Saint-Vincent clinic claimed that the doctor, who they often get into intense conflict with over decision-making, claimed that Péchier was suspiciously fast in diagnosing anesthetic overdoses. He was also the only physician present during all the incidents where traces of poison were found or when overdoses were diagnosed. The anesthetist has admitted criminal acts were committed at the clinic, but said he was not responsible for them. Meanwhile, his lawyer says that the investigation proved nothing, accusing lawyers of tampering with his client's statements. Now, at least 15 people died at the start to the rainy season in Bamako, the capital of Mali, following heavy overnight rain that flooded several parts of the city on Thursday. Torrential rain started to fall at around 3 a.m. local time and stopped some 5 hours later, with residents waking to flooded streets, floating cars, and damaged shops. At least 10 people were reported to have died in Niamakoro, where a bridge had badly damaged. By early afternoon, traffic resumed after the floodwaters receded, leaving behind thick mud, broken buildings, and homeless residents in the street, with the few belongings they managed to rescue. Teams are in place to rescue the distressed as the government calls on residents to be prudent in the face of the disaster. Residents are blaming the government for poor management of the area, claiming that there was too much rubbish left in the streets that blocked evacuation canals.